Where's the happy balance between like, trying to get to a certain point from a cash flow perspective and, or money in the bank, like, and, like trying to enjoy life? Like, what's your philosophy on kind of that happy medium?
Well, I think that there's always got to be a bit of a balance, but it's going to be out of whack. You're never going to have this perfect balance and this harmony where it sounds like, oh, everything is tuned. And it's, I mean, you're going to have some C flats happening throughout your life where it's not going to be a perfect note with that balance. So what does that mean? I mean, for people, it means that you're going to have to hustle. People that think they can have everything bliss. I've actually heard a lot of spouses where they talk about how, in fact, they teach on Facebook a lot and they teach about how to have this beautiful life. And I'm like, yeah, but your spouse is out there grinding it, making $800,000 a year, and you're over teaching about happy life balance. You have no clue, and you're totally disingenuous because somebody's got to go create it. So I think there's seasons. So there's a season where you actually work the soil and you work your business, you work, you learn, you're growing. It's not overnight. Everybody thinks that, oh, I'm going to create a billionaire in 6 months. I'm going to be Peter Thiel. I get that, but it's not reality. So you go out there and you hustle. And I think you also have to recharge because as you're hustling, you will burn out. I don't care if you're 20 or 50, you just burn out. So then how much is enough? I can tell you $20 million is not enough if the money is the only focus. And that was my experience back in 2008. $20 million turned into -5. And all I was thinking about was more money. So it's not about the money that will make you happy or free. And you have to kind of sit back and say, what do I actually want in my life first? And then let your businesses and let your pursuits support that life. Not I'm going to do business and then I'm going to buy more life because it's never ending and you'll never have enough.
What are your pursuits and passions?
So I have one mission, and that is to free 1 million people from financial bondage, to break financial shackles one shackle at a time. That is my singular focal point for my businesses, for my team, and our tribe knows that's what we're doing, and so they support doing it with other people. So there's a ripple effect, and it's beyond. It's there's a shift. So 15 years ago, I was all about making the next $1 million and the next Ferrari, and it was never enough. A Ferrari, Lamborghini, a whole fleet of them, like didn't matter. And that was about me. It was a very hedonistic, self just indulging experience. And what I shifted to after I lost it, the universe, God, whatever, said, wrong purpose, dude. It's not about you just feeding your face and getting fat. It's about you going out there and rising and raising people up by pursuing the teaching and lifting of humanity. And that's what the breaking of shackles is, because it's modern day slavery that people have money ruining their lives because they don't know what it means or how to use it.
Mhm. Damien, I mean, outside of, obviously you're trying to have a positive impact on the world. And I read the notes about, these companies you run with the unified vision of freeing people from the shackles of money. But like, what do you do outside of work? Like, what are your interests? What are you doing when you're not hustling and trying to, have an impact, positive impact?
So
What are
it's
your,
interesting. It's really simplified. It used to be that my vision had just a whole bunch of stuff, and it was almost overwhelming. It was almost exhausting just looking at my vision. And I was like, man, I need a nap before I even start anything. And so what it's come down to is a grounded state where it's about connections with people. So I enjoy hanging out with my inner circle. I enjoy gardening. I enjoy being in nature. I like traveling, but it became less and less important the more I was grounding into my local environment and connecting with people. So I don't know if this is what happens when you get older. Being in your 40s is different than your 20s, but it's what brings me joy is connecting at a heart level with people. And I don't need a whole lot more than that. I don't even want a whole lot more than that. And I used to look at people that said, "Well, I don't need a Ferrari. I don't need a castle." And I go, "You're just being lazy." Well, it's not necessarily that people are being lazy if they decide, but they're not limiting themselves. They say, "I can go do this, but I choose here's what I choose to do because that's actually what I believe I'm here for. It's not just more for the sake of more."
hey, something you mentioned earlier was about, for example, the couple with the 2 million bucks and, this idea of like entrusting somebody with your money. You mentioned in lieu of, for example, just trusting somebody with your money, go get educated on how to handle your finances. Like, but what are the skills and tools you need to learn to be in a good place to make sure what happened in that example you mentioned earlier doesn't happen again?
Well, I mean, this is a good one for everybody to take out a pen and take a note. It's called blood and mud. I mean, the skills and tools, it's not, there's not like one perfect one. Like people will say, what do I do first? And I go buy an ounce of silver. They're like, then what? And I'm like, go do that. And they're like, well, why is it only that one thing? I go, because most people won't do that one thing. So I'm not going to go into any other depth of anything if you're not willing to go spend 30 bucks and actually hold real money. But the reality is learning business and investing and becoming financially free has more to do with your resilience and your tenacity going through muddy, bloody life and learning and tripping over yourself and falling and busting your nose than it does to learn some perfect tool at a seminar or a book or an MBA program. It has everything to do with out there. It, something that Robert Kiyosaki and I were talking about a couple of years ago on a cruise. He said, wealth is not about money. It's not cash. It's not cash flow. I was like, okay, like it's confidence. He's like, kind of, but really what it is, it's the experience. It's you going out there and having the experiences. And I said, well, I must be a trillionaire then, because I feel like I've had every experience and screwed them all up. But that's the reality. And most people are so afraid of making a mistake. They don't want to get bloody. They don't want to get muddy. They're like, no, I'm in good shape. Everything. They're playing not to win. It's very protective. And you know what happens when a team starts playing not to win? They lose. And so that's what most people are doing. But it's really the wealth lies in the experiences and being willing to go out there and look silly, look dumb, make mistakes, and grow from that.
That's some deep stuff, man. Getting really philosophical on me. I like it. It's good.